Hello, everyone, and welcome to move.crush.count. This is a podcast sponsored by J&L Marketing. This is where you learn the secrets that successful business leaders use to differentiate themselves and their businesses from everybody they compete against. For more information, I want you to visit and subscribe to move.crush.count.com. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast so you can get instant updates on all new episodes and all the people we're going to be interviewing and get solutions to some of your biggest challenges. I also want to make sure that you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Today, we're coming to you live. And I got to say, before I introduce him, the backdrop of our guest is phenomenal. It's home of World Series champion Atlanta Braves, and I'm staring at a screen right now. So if those listening, you can't see it, make sure you find us on YouTube or at move.crush.count.com. You'll be able to see this backdrop, but it's what an office setting. I am Scott Joseph. I'm your host, but I am also joined by one of our frequent guests, the solutionist himself, Mr. Sandy Cerami. Welcome, Sandy.
Gentlemen, what's happening?
Always brings the humor and a lot of great knowledge. He's from the great state of New Jersey, home of my rock icon, Bruce Springsteen.
Amen.
And Tony Soprano.
TC, you took the words right out of my mouth.
And then, the man who needs no introduction, he is an innovation expert, the founder of CarNow, Mr. Tim Cox. How you doing, Tim?
Co-founder.
Co-founder.
There's others. There's a lot more. There's a few other smarter people than I that we have to give credit to. So anyway, let me just correct you.
Tell us who they are. Let's do it now.
Absolutely. So the founder, who is a serial entrepreneur, is Andy Park, and we have two other the gentlemen that as I was working at the dealership and then going home at 9 and 10 o'clock at night, and we worked until 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. That coded all this stuff is Saurav and Badan, and they've been just hardworking, humble people this entire time, and great partners.
Well, I'm going to quote Tim and say, as always, none of us is smarter than all of us. So, to your point,
100%. No one's smarter than everyone. Let's get better together, right? So I think that's why we're here. Yeah.
That's 100%. Tim, you're well known as an innovative expert, and I say that because you've got a thriving technology business, and if there's one vertical where if you're not innovative, you're not thriving, it's tech. So I know some of the things that you've just put out, phenomenal. We'll get to that in a second. I want to jump right in. Let's talk a little bit and give the people in the audience who may know you, but may not know necessarily your story real quick. Can you give us a quick background of how you got started and your experience? Where'd you get it?
Sure. So long story short, I'll try to make it as short as possible. I started selling automobiles at a very, very young age, at 17 years old when I first got out of high school, and had a short stint in the beloved Marine Corps where I got hurt and sent home, funneled through MRP a bunch of times. Anyway, I got back to Kentucky, and I've been in the car business ever since. And in 1995, I followed my then girlfriend, my beautiful wife, who were getting ready to celebrate 25 years. She moved to Atlanta with her family, and I came down in my 1978 Monte Carlo with Kragers. Okay, so I was cool.
That's a bad ride, baby.
Absolutely, everything had a stereo though. Everything that I owned in the back seat of that Monte Carlo, which literally was in a bag. And I had $70 in my pocket in 1995. I got in the car business, and I just went to work. I got serious and started learning. Had the privilege of sitting in most every chair in the space or in the dealership, and then was a sales manager at a Lexus dealership here in Atlanta. And my partner walked in and basically just said he wanted to pick my brain. Asked for me because he went through and looked for a meet our staff, and because I looked younger at the time. Now all the gray is coming in, but this is 8 years ago. He said, "Can I meet Tim Cox?" And she said, "Do you have an appointment?" He said, "No, just tell him I'm not here to sell him anything. I just want to pick his brain." And my partner Andy, much smarter than I, said, listen, what is some problems in the space? And to be innovative, you have to there has to be a pain point. There has to be a problem. My dad is a Baptist preacher for half a century, and I use a lot of his sayings because they just make sense. And one of them is, when you throw a rock into a pack full of dogs, the one that goes woof is the one you hit. So when you're spot on, when there's pain, there has to be a solution. And the pain was dealerships right now, and quite frankly, a lot of companies don't have a lead problem. They have a how to handle a lead problem. And we created software we were the first ever to create in any vertical, in any industry, to create a chat platform, which is what we used as our Trojan horse to get the loyalty and show dealers that we serve them well, that sent rich objects. So for example, a video, a brochure, a trade-in, to show them what their trade's worth. Creating that rich content, which therefore created something more than just, hey, my manager's not here right now. What's your name? What's your number? When can you come in? So therefore, we grew relatively quickly. And then we've continued to innovate with different products. The first, digital retailing with COVID last year. People couldn't buy cars. They couldn't go into dealerships. So we were the first platform. Actually, my friend Joe Chura and I, we debate that with Dealer Inspire. I love what Joe's done with Dealer Inspire. It was, I don't know who pushed send on the first date, but providing a DR platform that had communication. And now you talk about our partnership with JD Power F&I and partnering with them to deliver a true omni-channel click to sign experience, because the pain point is in automotive. There's a lot of good tech out there, but they're all point solutions. Now we're bringing everything together, one login, click to sign, and that's a very quick illustration of the last 8 years of my life.
Well, and if anybody's listening, right, that is attempted to buy a car, let's say in the last year and a half online, knew that it wasn't a complete process, right? Well, okay, I can buy the car, but what about the insurance stuff and the finance stuff and stuff like that? And then they had to do all of a sudden it became a tension point. And then what you basically did was solve that issue, correct?
Right. Even Carvana, all the cars sold in the United States right now and in fact, I learned the statistic at your last event in Louisville, which I would recommend anybody to go to. Shameless plug for you. But it was a great event. In all seriousness, it was a phenomenal event. It was an intimate event. But we listened to all the cars sold last year were online were only 3%. Even Carvana, when you buy a car at Carvana, it's not completely end to end. The person showing up with that truck is a notary, and that notary's got a packet full of paper, just like I did in 1995, and said, "Hey, go give this paperwork to Dr. Cerami as he picks up his new Jaguar." So nothing's changed. It's just the heavy lifting's done online. So now to be able to, create a sign room, that type of stuff. And then, look, there's a lot of great tech out there, but at the end of the day, and I think we'll get into this a little bit, it's about how you serve your customers and how you serve your people and creating that environment to where people want to do business with you and people want to work with you.
And that's what I want to get into. I want to know how you created a culture that allows you to be so innovative, right? Because it has to be, I would imagine it has to be almost priority number one for you. But first I have to say, you lost me when you said Dr. Cerami. You lost me there. There's never been a doctor in the Cerami family, I don't think.
That actually, Scott, that's what they referred to me as in high school, Dr. Cerami.
Okay.
Yeah. But I want to just
did they call them doctors back then?
Yeah, we still made house calls too, by the way. But TC, one of the things that I appreciate about what you do and how you serve your clients is it feels to me like you started out trying to solve the problems of your clients' not just the challenges that your clients were facing. And I think that adds an incredible level of value, not just for the people that you're serving, but for those folks that they're serving as well.
No, 100%. At the end of the day, that's why that you can pick, and not all. It's not a complete blueprint, but show me a successful company, and I'll show you leadership that serves people. I'll show you leadership that is in every fiber of their being. John Maxwell said, Well, he said a lot of great things, but he says,
Yes, he
I
did.
have the privilege of, he speaks and consults with the IBMs and the Nikes of the world. And he says, with great companies come great leadership, and leadership that says, I want to make a difference with people that make a difference, doing something that makes a difference. And I really believe that. And you might say, well, in cars, but this idea of CarNow and the name of CarNow and being able to give back, and 230 people that rely on us, and we create an environment now they can serve their, take care of their families. And it just, look, are we perfect? No. But it literally comes, and you say, I didn't create anything. We don't like the word I at all in our company. I didn't do anything. In fact, I told, even with the recent successes, and we've been blessed with over 5,000 dealers now. And, I tell our people all the time, and especially our founding team, when we start patting ourselves on the back and telling us how pretty we are, that's the end. That's it. We're done. We continue to innovate. We continue to serve. We continue to love our people. We continue to lift them up, and good things happen.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because I think it goes to, you hear about companies or executives, not physically, but getting fat, right? And I think that's when we kind of relax. That's the term of getting comfortable, right? We relax a little bit. And I think the most innovative companies always have a startup mentality. And I think there's a lot of advantages to becoming a startup, right? I think startups, think about all the broke startups that have started in the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right? And have went on and become extremely disruptive. The obvious, easiest examples would be Amazon, right? So, but let me ask you this question. What are some of the philosophies that you think startups have, or have to have even?
Stay humble. You got, I think humility is the key. I think the two words, and I've said this on almost when and I'm fortunate, and this is a pretty passionate subject of mine, because I continue to learn from my partner Andy. As a matter of fact, we're kind of yin and yang. I'm see a wall, run through the wall. He's like, let's analyze the wall. You know what I mean? So he's a phenomenal human being, but he's very humble. And I think that the first mistake is, at some point with a little success, there's complacency, and the two biggest things, in my opinion, that kill any company, any organization, any dealership, any gas station, anything at all. The two biggest killers, cancers, are insecurity and pride. I'm insecure, so I'm gonna jockey for position. I got to let them see, I can't, if it was bad, it's your fault. If it was good, it's my fault. Pride, we start thinking that we did something other than helping something else. And if I was to, I'm going to give you something that I truly live by, and I know you didn't ask for it. I'm going to give it to you anyway. I really believe the key to success, and when I posted this, because people ask all the time about success, and look, we got a lot of runway in 2020. We've made some claims. We better back it up. We got a lot of work to do. Okay, we're not there yet, and hopefully we'll never get there. But I'm passionate about this one thing. If you chase, because everybody's the bling and the this and the success. If you chase that, it's not going to end well. There's story after story, even people that have crushed it financially, that have this hole in their soul per se, right? But when you chase significance instead of success, when you chase significance, pouring into that person that calls you boss, pouring into that person that may not work for you, but you pour and you try to be significant to make a difference in their life, and not just say it in podcasts, and not just say it, I call it Sunday school words. Everybody is pretty on Sunday. Everybody's got their clothes. What do you do? And look, I'm the first to tell you, I've got my flaws. I tell people all the time, I'm the guy that goes to church on Sunday, and I just try to get out of the parking lot without flipping anybody off. I mean, I'm just, that's I can be that person. But are you chasing significance, ladies and gentlemen, in people's lives? And when you do, success comes. I mean, I'm telling you, when you believe in people, you give them a clear path of how they grow in your company. You pour in them, great things happen.
Well,
Yeah,
I
no,
also
I
think
totally agree, Tim. We preach, for lack of a better way of putting it, make a difference. The dollars will follow, but seek to make the difference first. If you're seeking to make the dollars so you can make a difference in your life first, you got it backwards. And I think to your point, you want to make a difference for those who you lead and serve on a daily basis, and everything else will fall into place.
And I want to come back to this topic because I think this directly goes to just really passion. So don't let me forget that word. Sandy, I'm going to put you in charge of that because
I got it.
get
I got it, Mr. Joseph. I'm making a note right now.
All right. So I think, for one, if you're going to start a company and continue to grow, I think you also have to have the ability to conquer fear. And what I mean by that is, obviously, you had a job, you had a career before you started CarNow. But and how many years ago was that?
8.
8 years,
Yeah,
right?
2000. I mean, we worked and we're innovative in 2013. I actually left the chair at the dealership November 30th, the first official day of, and we've been working things, but we call it our anniversary is December 1st, because if you're not selling anything, you're just an idea, right? You're a hat, you got a hobby.
Right.
So I took a bag and started, driving around the country and flying around the country at December 1st of 2014. So we just had our, birthday.
Yeah. So I want you to think about that. And you've already said 5,000 customers, independent customers. When I say independent, individual, different clients, different rooftops. Well, outside the auto industry, they won't know what that means. But in the auto industry, obviously rooftops. That is a tremendous amount of active clients to have on your program, to be clients of yours in a very short period of time. And that doesn't happen without offering incredible customer support and a lot of innovation, the type of technology that is disruptive and makes a difference. And so where I'm going with this, and I brought up fear because it's one thing to conquer fear and start the company, right? It's another, once you're having a lot of success the way you do it, to then try and take and level it up even higher and take the calculated or educated risk, I should say, and start doing new things. Because you could sit back and say, you know what? Let's not disrupt this. This is our core. This is what we do, but we have to go here, here, here. And you kind of alluded to it earlier. You said the Trojan horse. So it sounds like you almost had a game plan initially saying we're going to start here, but the end path is here.
100%. Yeah. We want to look, and I'm not, and people that know me, God knows my heart. Everybody else don't. Hopefully you guys do. I don't want to, we could have, there's been a lot of acquisitions in our space, and we've had there's a lot of activity, and I don't want to be flippant. We probably could have been acquired and taken a check, and not that, and I'm happy for those people. Not that we love it, quite frankly. I'm happy, but we did not do that because we want to make a mark in our space. We want to do something that everybody's been talking about for a decade. A one login, instead of, and look, I've got friends all over the place. I'm not talking, but people have been talking about this for a long time. One login, start to finish, all the other things that we're doing, communicating, close rates, all this other stuff. We want to make a difference and leave the space with more than just another point solution with, wow, I mean, this is what we've been asking for in a decade, and here it is, to where we can really feel like we've done something, and that's our journey. We did use it as a Trojan horse. It was always digital retailing. Now it's a platform, creating a platform that is real-time retail, to where you actually see everything happening versus waiting for it to get pushed into a CRM or a Google Analytics. It's right now. And that's live right now, and we're making a difference, and we're really excited about it to watch and continue to grow. As we, I wake up every day scared to death that someone's going to catch us, and that we're going to fail at our promises, and that's what drives us. It's like, with our investors and our dealerships that believe in us. It's like, when you're at bat and your dad's watching the game, you want to make him proud. That's what drives us. These people wrote checks. These people believe in us. These dealership advisors, hey, they believe in us. That means something to us. And now we're like, we want to hit a home run because these people believe in us, and now we're going to go make you proud. So that's what drives us for sure.
Hey, TC, let me ask you this question. People hear 5,000 rooftops, and a lot of times that'll fly over the top of somebody's head, and they don't quite understand the scope of what 5,000 rooftops means in terms of scale. Can you recall a point in time where you first hit like that catalyzed moment where you started to see some real scale, the initial time? What was it that drove that initial scale, and what slowed you down, or has it not slowed you down? Have you had multiple different points where you've scaled, in bunches?
Well, in 2018, I'll confess sin right here in front of everybody. In 2018, we went around and we put together a growth model, and we knew that because we had a good product, that X amount of heads meant X amount of rooftops. In 2018, so hindsight, when you review the game film, probably should have looked at it differently, than that. And we probably, you talk about create culture. Probably hired some people that we couldn't have hired. So 2008 was, or 2018, excuse me. We had growth. We've had growth every year.
Right.
Obviously, you have to have growth every year to get, in 7 years to get to 1,000. I'm not being silly about that, but understanding that. And here's the great thing: we just last week hired a CMO. There's no marketing there. None. That's a few of
That's
us
incredible.
Tim,
this is a marketing program sponsoring this show. We don't need to be saying that.
Word of mouth. 20
That
groups.
is marketing.
That is marketing. Let me back
That's
up.
the best marketing.
Typical SEO. So I'm so excited. Where we hired a gentleman that has just phenomenal success, but I think it's getting the same mindset, and we've hired some people, people that haven't been of the same mindset as, and they've weeded themselves out. You know what I mean?
Well, that's great culture, Tim. That's what great culture does, is it really does spit out people that are not congruent with the underlying philosophy and the values of your organization, like poison, and so great cultures do that.
I have to, you've got Olivia watching right now as we're live. You work with her, Olivia Lane, and she wrote something very nice that I wanted to share with you. I don't know if you can see it up on the screen or not, but Tim Cox inspires people to take a chance. He persuaded me to do it during Christmas 2015 and change careers. We are part of something incredible here at CarNow. Innovation is that something. So
that's awesome.
How does that make you feel?
It's good stuff. It's good stuff, buddy.
We say something here. We say something in our space, and I'm the emotional one, and I don't freaking care because I love my people. I really do. I mean, we say things like La Familia. It's kind of funny, but it's cool. But we say La Familia, we say family, but I care about them. And I think when you create that culture and you love on your people, and we went to weddings together, we went to all that type of stuff. Listen, when you make sure your soldiers' bellies are full and their feet are dry, they're going to fight for you.
Yep.
And we failed. There have been, look, this is, and you're saying nice things, Olivia's saying nice things. Let me just tell you something. Talk to my wife. You're going to see all the flaws of Tim Cox. I have a zillion flaws. Okay.
Scott knows exactly how you feel.
There's only been one perfect human that ever walked this earth, and his name's not Tim Cox. I can promise you that. But understanding that even when, there's been certain times that I've handled a situation wrong. I've been quick to anger, and I don't care what, and their positions obviously a lot lower than co-founder in this company. And but I've had to call them and say, you know what? And one of them was and I said, I should have handled that a different way. And I had every right to be upset. You know what I mean? But I think having an understanding that you're not the smartest person in the room, walking into a conference room, a lot of people walk, especially with success, walk into a conference room knowing they're going to walk out of there the same. the key to success is walking into a conference room and wanting to learn from each individual. I got to share this with you. I don't care what the smartest thing that we did at the Lexus dealership. I had the privilege to be on the Lexus Innovation Council, Dealer Council in 2007. That's where, and I give them credit, that's where I stole credit to Lexus. No one's smarter than everyone. But the key to that Lexus Council, and the smartest thing we ever did, is that Lexus Council inside the dealership. You know who was on it? The receptionist, the custodian, the detail manager, the salesman. You see where I'm going? They see 100%. Things that we don't see. They hear things that we don't hear. So we can either think we're so smart, this is what my business card said, or do you really want to innovate? Do you want to say all the Sunday school words that you hear? Or do you want to roll up your sleeves, chase significance in people, find what people really see? I tell people all the time, what is it like to be on the other side of me? Do I have a booger on my nose or not? And if I do, tell me, right? You know what I mean? And
by the way, Scott, I have something to Scott, just go like this real quick.
Okay. Actually, I have a new puppy. And right before I came here, he freaking whacked me in the nose. So I'm bleeding. Looking to block my nose like I'm going to be on camera. I need to fix this. So look real close, ladies and gentlemen. That is my new puppy. It's not a zit. I'm an old man. I don't get those
that
anymore.
Is great.
I got that. Anyway, so just to be clear, that's a new puppy.
But
listen, when you were telling me
what you're alluding to is something that Maxwell talks about all the time, right? The first level leadership, leading by position, right? You're using a title in order to get people to do what you quote unquote want them to do and influence them with a title. And what you just described with the Lexus Innovation Council is that titles make no difference whatsoever when we talk about leadership. We talk about leadership, it's a philosophy, it's a way somebody actually lives their life, personally and professionally. That's leadership. The title means very little, as you know. And I suspect you probably have leaders littered around CarNow, regardless of what their title is.
Let me tell you something. You know, one of the things I'm most proud of, I'm proud of a lot of things with our team. And I didn't even know this stat, and I wasn't keeping up with it because I'm too ADD, if you can't already tell. Our entire, this year in 2021, we have promoted 43% of our entire company has been promoted.
That's outstanding.
43%. So because in anything that we're talking about leadership, I'm gonna reference Maxwell again.
Who better?
There's one thing in books. There's another thing about applying it. It's the law of attraction. Something's going on at CarNow. Tina Zerby, who's been with us a very long time, called, didn't even ask the pay plan. She said, I want to be a part of whatever you guys are doing. Spurgeon said in the 1800s, if you catch fire, the whole world will come watch you burn. So it's the law of attraction. Something's going on there. I want to be a part in the law of duplication. So when they see leadership doing things that they ask everybody else to do, when they see leadership fall, like I have fallen so many times, but it's how you get back up and how you respond to those that you handled, and you pour into those, even though their title is not X, Y, or Z, or maybe they are a custodian or a receptionist, but you say, hey, listen, I handled that. You talk about getting respect to your people. The law of attraction, the law of duplication, then you've got a bench that's a mile long. That's how you promote 43% of your company out of 230 employees, is because you have them at the ready, because they're not afraid to serve, and they see what happens when you do it, for sure.
Well, that goes right back to Maxwell. He says that leaders don't build followers, leaders build other leaders.
Yeah, 100%. And you should be looking to build someone, no matter what your position, to be able to replace you. I've replaced myself multiple times. I took me personally in my position, we took the company, but in my position, I hate saying the word it makes me want to puke, but to a certain level, then I needed Tina, and then Tina took it here. And just the sheer mass, 5,000 dealers is pretty, it's a lot to be able to handle. And then we had to add Nicole, and then now we've had it other layers, hence promoting as many people. So understanding duplicating yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to come back to this, because what you're talking about brings up a great point. Creativity and innovation is not restricted to a product.
100%.
to scale to the level you're at, right? That required a lot of creativity and innovation with your team to figure that out. You mentioned something earlier, by the way, I can't let this pass. You said you've fallen plenty and it's how you get up. Sandy will tell you in another 20 years, falling and getting up becomes a lot easier. All you got to do is push a button, he says.
Well, listen, I think I'm going to pull a punch right now. I'm going to pull a punch right now.
That's great. I love watching you guys. It's like newlyweds. I love it. Good stuff.
Well, Scott, you wanted to talk about passion before, so I don't want you to forget that, because I know at this stage of your life that you are a little bit more forgetful. But you want to talk about passion with Tim.
Well, I think passion plays a huge role in an innovative culture. So I think you've talked a little bit. We've talked about your scale. We haven't talked about how you did it as much as some little things here and there. But you've got to have people that have a passion for change. They've got to have a passion to contribute, right? And I'm reading some of the comments, whether it's from Olivia or Chris coming in. You want to make a difference. And you've said that. I don't know how many times you've said make a difference. If we go back and count, it's well over 10. So clearly you have that, right? A passion for discovering something new. So I think one of the things, and going back to the startup thing, so I've got a couple questions. One, how has passion played a role in creating the culture you've done? But also, when I listen to you, and I've talked to the people when I went down to the conference that you hosted, the Unconference, which was another great conference. You tend to focus on what's possible. You're not. You tend to focus, and it just kind of permeates through your organization. What could be instead of what is, type of mentality. So, going back to how has passion played a huge role, not necessarily in you, but in your company culture or in creating that type of culture?
Well, I think you do have to see some results. I mean, I think when we saw some early results, I mean, the passion walks right in line with the vision of CarNow, which is transforming the way dealerships and businesses connect and with dealers, and we've done that. We did that from the very beginning, and again, we've got other people on the bench that are not on the bench anymore, that are out there, preaching the gospel of CarNow. And I say gospel, the translation is good news. And there's pretty good news in what we're doing. Based on the numbers don't lie, data doesn't lie. This isn't a CarNow pitch, but there's good news in what we're doing. And you ask how we scale. Very early on, we learned that it was how we served our dealers, and we have 2.5, almost 3 times as many people in support and customer care and performance than we do in sales. Why? Because that was a pain. Remember back to throwing the rock into a pack full of dogs earlier. That was a pain that I experienced at the dealership. I would have something, don't have time to go into everybody listening, no matter what software you use, it breaks and you get upset. And then you call and they say, please leave your message at, boom, boom, boom. And you get that. And let me write a ticket. No, I'm not writing a stinking ticket. Give me somebody on the phone. I got customers sitting in front of me. So we do, even though we're an innovative company and we've won a bunch of awards, I want to be old school. I want every single one of my dealers to have 5 or 6 different cell phones, and if there's something wrong, or even if there's an idea, I want them to be able to get a hold of somebody and get a hold of somebody right now. And if somebody's, and quite frankly, look at some of the reviews on Driving Sales and other websites, that again is what I'm proud of. Hey, it was Saturday and I know this person is in Texas and I'm in California, and they stayed with me until X amount of time. And we heard it on Modern Day Car Sales that, Bruce said, hey, your team was with my marketing team at 10:32 p.m., and we're not slave drivers, and that doesn't happen a lot. But when people need you, again, back to a Kentuckyism, good news or bad news gets around the world twice. Why good news is putting its shoes on.
That's
so tick somebody off, see what happens. Don't answer their call, see what happens. But love on people, serve people, stay till 10:30 occasionally, not all the time you have to, and then watch what happens and watch how quickly you spread. So I think that's very important. But it's an atmosphere, it's a culture, and it's never wavering, and it has to you just have to keep putting wood on the fire. Just keep putting wood on the fire.
You know what, Tim? We talked earlier about you overcoming fear and the fear of starting the company, the fear of expanding it and getting out of a new comfort zone, right? But quite honestly, if you're going to have an innovative culture, everyone on your team's got to conquer fear, right? The fear of looking dumb, the fear of. So, my question to you is, how do you encourage courage?
How do you encourage courage? I'm going to steal something from a book they wrote a few thousand years ago, and Alex Flores uses all the time. And you said me again. Don't ever say me. Say you guys. Say.
I love it.
It really makes me want to go throw up in the corner. I didn't do anything, and quite frankly, if this company was just me, we'd have probably 3 dealerships. So let's stop saying me. I hate it. It makes me sick, but I do appreciate it and I love you. So that's your last pass. They wrote a book a long time ago. Do what?
Now you know how I feel.
Yeah, I know. It's be transformed. Flores uses this all the time. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It is amazing what our minds can accomplish when we transform and we get rid of the stinking thinking. When it's gone and what could be, planting a Trojan horse 7 years ago in a chat company, knowing that our platform was the end game, not listening as hard to, the acquisition talk a year or 2 ago, knowing that we wanted to do something really special in this space and transforming the way we think. A lot of people get into this business. Hey, I'm going to build a company and I'm going to tap out and I'm going to exit and I'm going to put money in the bank and I'm going to go live at the beach. Look, there's nothing wrong with that. We're not done yet. We've got so much runway left. That is, I think when you have these conversations, you talk about encourage courage, bringing, we have something called Motivational Mondays every Monday, because I spend a lot of time on the road. I want our people that aren't hearing and seeing what guys like you, Scott, and guys like you, Sandy, and others in dealerships are saying about us. So I'll bring them on a podcast just like this. I'll allow our people to feed into it. It's one thing saying it and, they say we're pretty and they say we're crushing it, but to bring them on and to tell stories and all we are as salespeople, we're storytellers. What story are we telling? So transforming our mind, believing in the vision, and then as along the way, because we're human, I have to feed myself daily. I have to get up and have my quiet time and get my head right daily, because Tim Cox as a person sucks. I got to work on Tim every day. I got to review my game film. I gave a talk. In fact, I'm writing a book. I'm just right now talking to a guy to make sure that I can use this title from Friday Night Lights, which I love. Clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. And I won't break everything down, but the clear eyes is very simple. Review the game film on a daily basis. How's your vision? Do you truly want to get better? Every night before you go to bed, what could you have done different? What opportunity did you miss? And did you truly, this is the question, I don't care if you sell pills, if you sell Cokes at the stadium behind me, I don't care did you truly do everything you possibly could that day? Michael Jackson said it best, start with the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror. And if you did, kudos. Have yourself, something to drink and go to bed and sleep well. But if you couldn't, let's review the game film. And maybe I'll break the other 2 down at another podcast because I don't want to take up the time. But clear eyes, full hearts, and at the end of the day, you can't lose. And I'm going to give you 3 words that changed my life, okay? Because I'm too ADD. I mean, if you cannot tell, but I get fired up pretty easy. But these 3 words, listen, 15 years ago, this changed my life. I'm telling you, these 3 words right here. I went to, not too far from the stadium here, I went to a Catalyst conference, and it was Maxwell. That's why I read so many Maxwell books that changed my life with these 3 words. I had the privilege to meet Dick Peterson, who started Enjoy with John Maxwell 30 years ago when Maxwell was a pastor in California. And he told me, he said, Tim, Maxwell, I'm not comparing myself to Maxwell. I can't hold his nothing. But he said, his personality is a lot like you. He's all over the place. In fact, I just traveled with him to make sure he was in a straight line. Right. So knowing this about him, I went to this Catalyst conference, and wouldn't you know it, I got a new jacket, and I don't have it in this coat, but I've got it written everywhere. And here's the key to, because I really, you talk about CarNow, you talk about success. We focus on the individuals, and the business takes care of themselves. When individuals are trying to make themselves better, love better, serve better, be better daddies, be better husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, be better. When that happens, everything else takes care of itself. And this is what he said, 3 words that changed my life. I've got it written everywhere. He said it up like this. He said, listen, guys, I'm all over the place. Some say it's ADD, some say it's whatever, but I can't control yesterday. It's gone. It's gone. I can review the game film. There's nothing I can do. And I'm not promised tomorrow, but just for today. Just for today, you fill in the blank. Just for today, I'm going to treat, and this is the big one for me, just for today, I'm going to treat people as though they're more important than me. And no matter my title, no matter our success is, no matter, when you truly, I'm talking about, listen, you really want to do some sort, when you start treating that lady or gentleman at the fast food restaurant that important, when you love on them, when you give them a $50 tip, when you, whatever that is, when you start treating people though they're more important than you, and just for today, I'm telling you, you're not going to have to worry about this profession stuff. You know, you're, no matter what you're doing professionally. And if that is what you're grounded to everything, things happen. That's when significance happens in people's lives. That's when change happens. That's when innovation happens, because then those same people are walking into those conference rooms. Those same people look at everything different because they want to help and they want to figure and they want to learn. And it starts with, for me, with those 3 words, just for today. Because you know what happens in my little ADD Kentucky brain? That today turns into a week, turns into a month, turns into a year. I'm going to get fired up. Then you look back and there's 5,000 dealer partners, and you look back and JD Power's partnering with you, and you look back and you're saying, how did I do this? Not I, but you, we. That's the key. So if I'm going to leave anything with your listeners today, I'm going to give you those 3 words like Maxwell gave me 3 words 15 years ago, man, that literally changed my life.
I can't help but think of all the bright people who have come out of the great state of Kentucky.
That's right.
I don't think it's I don't think it's a coincidence. But how do you?
It's the ones that stayed, Tim, that we're concerned about.
It's the one part of the state that wears red is the only concern. The one that wears blue is fine. There's a part in heaven for those guys. Those that wear red.
You know, Tim, I have to be honest. And Mario says to me, "Why do you spend so much time in Louisville with Scott?" And I said, "Honey, that's my mission work."
That's right. That's right.
A lot of, Tim, what you don't realize is Sandy and I, back when the whole idea for Business Bourbon and Cigars, by the way, the conference you mentioned, came from him and I used to get together once a week. We'd pour a bourbon, we'd Zoom call. This is kind of at the start of COVID, and we'd Zoom and we'd do a cigar and we'd talk just you know, ideas, right? Here's where we could do this, we could do this. Yeah.
Yep.
And so what happened shortly after when we stopped those, and you had mentioned, you know, if you talk to your wife, all the things that she would tell me that's wrong with you. Mary Cerami used to send me Zoom. All of a sudden, I'm starting to get meeting invites from Mary Cerami, and she just wanted to drink 2 or 3 bourbons and tell me about all the things wrong with Sandy.
She needed counseling with Scott.
That's good.
How do you guys at CarNow celebrate ideas?
How do we celebrate ideas?
Yeah, because here, I guess here I am, right? New employee or somebody that's been there a while. Maybe I'm a little afraid to speak up. I don't want to look dumb. Maybe I've got this outlandish idea, and I'm afraid that it might be a little too far out there. And lo and behold, someone brings it up, and may not be the exact idea you run with, but it makes other people on the team start to think of other things. And all of a sudden this idea starts here, ends up over here, and now it's a home run idea, right? How do you guys celebrate those things?
I mean, that's been our whole company from the beginning. You know, and I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but one of the most powerful things that Andy, who's been very, very successful in a company called Blade Logic, and went to Yale, and all, I used to give that in every pitch. Hey, my partner's smarter than me. You should buy CarNow. You know, but he's brilliant, but he's also humble. And you know, some of the newer team members were asking me this question today, and I think this sums up your question. You know, Andy always says, you know, I don't have to be right, but one of us has to be right. I don't have to be right.
Right.
Others has to be right.
Well said.
So there's a lot of ideas, even with our, and I'm not, again, getting into products, but the idea of, everybody was talking about AI, and we had a company to come in and put AI in our tool, and we just simplified the process, and it was an idea that was, let's just create an AI toolbox that dealers can customize and just boom, 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 all the way down. It was a great idea. I'm like, oh, okay. And then now we've got this product that, there was 6 keynotes done in the last, at the AAAS, there was multiple keynotes at the last 2 digital dealers talking about just that product. And that product was an idea in somebody's brain. And there have been countless others.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's saying, knowing that you're not going to get yelled at, that if you're creating an innovative culture, you're creating a culture, you're seeing somebody new coming in, they hear, wait a minute, hold on. 43% of your company was just promoted in the last year. That sets the stage. That sets another word, another 3 words. These three words didn't change my life, but you need to set the tone. Set the tone in your company, set the tone in your business, set the tone, and even in your workplace if you don't own the place. You set the tone. Because I promise you this, if I leave here now, I go home, bloody nose and everything from my new puppy, and my wife is dealing with the new puppy at home. And I go in and I slam the door and I don't talk to her and I yell at the dog. I just set the tone, pal.
Fact.
Versus setting the tone. Hey, had a great day. I got to talk to this guy, Joseph. He's kind of a big deal. His apartment smells of mahogany and old books, just like Andrew. I got to talk to these guys, and man, I had fun. But I have just set the tone for the rest of the night. I like to water things down. When you boil all the water out of the pot, that's another one. When you boil all the water out of the pot, all you have left is the tone that you set, and creating a culture that, wait a minute, 43% of the company just got promoted. Ideas, this product just came from an idea on a phone call. It creates an environment to where you beef up your bench, and you got to stay on top of it, man. You got to, again, we're not perfect. And look, for me to speak to somebody, I'm sure that somebody may have had an idea in our company and they maybe felt afraid. That I don't know. I'm just looking at our batting average, and I'm looking at what's happened thus far, and I think it's pretty good.
And,
Tim,
and I say that. Go ahead.
I want to flip that question around for just a second, Scott, because I think the innovation is not only about celebrating new ideas or innovative ideas. I think it's also celebrating noble failure. When somebody has an idea that maybe doesn't work, and making sure that people understand that, like, you're willing to take a shot on an idea, and if it doesn't work out, that it's a matter of just readjusting, and not crushing somebody because they didn't.
We have a perfect example of that. There was a product that we partnered. I won't mention the company, but it was a great idea. In fact, it had 100% closing. Every dealer that I talked to, they said, sign me up, sign me up, sign me up, sign me up. But because it involved a couple other companies to make it work, it didn't work out well. Well, guess what? We've kind of had it hanging out here. Now that technology's changed and things are changing, we're taking that back off the shelf to add it to our platform. Now the time's right. So,
Right.
these types of things and making these types of things, nobody's batting average is 1,000.
Yeah, well,
I love what
it's the old failure is not final, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Failure sucks. I hate
That's
it.
what I was going to say.
But you learn.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a timing issue, like you just said. So I think that's great. So not necessarily within CarNow, but what would you say to someone listening who might say, you know what, creativity, innovation, that's not my job. That's not part of really in my job description.
Well, there's several things, just like when you were saying, I did something that really made me sick on my stomach. That not my job comment really makes me sick on my stomach.
Me too.
Let's reposition that question for just a second, because I think it'll open up an interesting conversation. A lot of times, and Tim, what I love about what you're saying here today is that you guys are high touch as much as you're high tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
Internally and also externally with your clients, which I think is awesome. That speaks so much to the purpose and mission that you guys have over at CarNow. So I guess my question is, like, I'll make a point and then I'll let you expound upon it. People tend to correlate innovation with technology, but innovation could be in terms of how you handle customer processing, how you handle customer onboarding, how you handle employee onboarding. There can be something you do that's innovative that has nothing to do with technology, but helps you guys advance your cause internally and externally with your employees and as well with your clients. Does that make sense?
100%. And COVID was, March, April of last year. One of our clients, and they don't care that we say it, one of our largest clients is enterprise car sales, enterprise. And, Mike Bystrom came on earlier this year to one of the first still virtual conferences in the spring. And I'll let him speak. And his words were, digital retailing and, that type of thing was on our radar, but COVID really, moved it further into the lineup. And we ended up taking, at the time, I think they have 149-ish. I hope someone doesn't punch me. 149 rooftops. I think at the time it was like 140-ish. Let's call it 140 rooftops live in less than, I think, 5 weeks. So learning how to, now granted it wasn't but we got them up and running. We rolled up our sleeves and we served them. And guess what? It was 5 o'clock and we were like, no, we still have work to do. And that doesn't, I don't want to paint a picture of our people have time off. Our people have weekends off, our people, but when duty calls and we serve our people. So therefore we can enjoy that time and we can put our head at our pillow at night that we served well today. But that was one of the best comments and that was unscripted. I didn't know he was going to say that, but he was like, they're truly a partner because this was my situation. They took 140 dealerships live in less than a month. I think that's the time frame. And, we were up and rolling. But in doing so, learning how to, set the code on the web, not to get technical, set the code on the website, but we'll come back and through a lot of pain, we figured out because we were forced to. I think not just our company, a lot of companies were forced to do things differently, especially last year and moving into this year and into 2022 and beyond.
Yeah, he was recently quoted in an interview where they were discussing a lot of the challenges that the NFL is facing right now with younger players and not teaching the game effectively right now. And it was so interesting to listen to him. I can't stand the Patriots. I'm a Giant fan. I can't stand the Patriots. So we've had some success against them. But I have always marveled at the consistency and the level of preparation and dedication and acumen of somebody like Tom Brady. And when he speaks, if you are a leader in any organization, business or otherwise, that is a dude to listen to.
I got to say, the part of Man in the Arena that's relevant here, somebody that doesn't know me or outside of our CarNow La Familia might say, well, this guy's squishy or he's loving. Look, the one thing about Brady is he held people accountable. The one thing about Brady is, he was first in and he was last out. And he would kindly rub, I think it was episode 1 or 2. He's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, you just got here? Yeah, I've been in the gym for 45 minutes, pouring in sweat. Kobe Bryant did the same thing. He'd be in the gym 6:30 in the morning. People pouring sweat with ice bags on his knees. And, other people were just getting to the gym and he had always, you know what I mean? So that work ethic and that drive. And again, most importantly, make sure your family's in check. Make sure, again, back to review the game film, making sure mama and daddy or whoever's at home, boyfriend, girlfriend, other is taken care of and knows that you love them. But going to work to truly make a difference, man, that's the key. And holding people accountable. Hey, listen, I'm gonna love on you, but you gotta do X, Y, and Z. Okay, or it's just not going to work out. So this isn't just a love fest.
Yeah. What you're alluding to is what I call reciprocal accountability, right? Because the folks that care enough to help you get to the very best level of achievement that you can aspire to are the ones that care enough to say something, right? It's when people don't care enough or they feel as though they're imposing their will on somebody else. If you think of it that way, then you're thinking about it in terms of yourself versus how can I help that person get better. And I think reciprocal accountability is the best way for me to put it.
Yes, I apologize for laughing. I'm just reading this comment. Somehow all our CarNow people are listening to this. But yes, if any of you need to be married or buried, I am a licensed minister, and that's how close we are about family. I actually officiated Michelle's wedding in June, and touched my heart and loved to do it. And the cool thing was not only was Michelle's friends and family, our penetration in Indianapolis, Indiana is about 60%, and 50 people there were dealers. So that was really cool.
Oh, that's
so
very cool.
Michelle. But yeah,
I want to make one final comment, and then we'll ask one final question. So you've been very gracious with your time, Tim. So first off, my comment is I don't think we've ever done a show where more people that more employees or people that someone might work with have made so many positive. It's one thing to make positive comments. And I've had the privilege of getting to know you pretty decent over these last 12 months. You and I have never met prior to this. And so I knew of you, but we've had thanks to social media, we had an opportunity to get to know each other this year. And I got to tell you, when I read these comments, I'm going to read this one from Michelle, just so the audience that's listening, if they're not watching. Tim did us the honor of officiating at our wedding in June. He made me the happiest girl on earth when he said yes. He's one of the best, in all caps best, and his all caps heart is so all caps huge. I work at CarNow, but consider Tim a true friend as well. When you read, this has been an onslaught of this.
There's so much specificity, Scott. That's what I can appreciate, is that it's not just Tim's a great guy. It's like Tim is awesome, and here's why. The specificity, I think, underlies the value of the relationships that he's created.
And I say this joking. He's got a phenomenal copywriter that is giving all this to these people. So
it's the new CMO in action. Exactly. That was a well-placed investment, Tim, with the new CMO. Well done.
Yeah.
But what final thoughts do you have, Tim, to help motivate? And this goes to two different audiences, and you choose however you want to do it, to either business leaders or even employees that are looking to be that, to the business leaders that either want to create this type of culture, and or to the employees that want to make more of a difference, that want to show they can be more creative or innovative. I'll let you address that however you want.
Well, I don't want to say it's simple, but I think it's like I tell my kids, I think in this world, I don't want to say it's easy to be successful, but this world, most people are looking for a job. They're not looking to work. Most people want to check in, check out. They want a paycheck. They don't want to make a difference. And the people that have that mindset, that be transformed by the renewing of your mind, think differently. The people that work on themselves, everything else comes. And I would say find something that you're passionate about, whatever that it is. Mine obviously is automotive. And as another country saying, I call it loving on people. Again, I have no problem loving on people. Of course, on the highway, like I said before, when I get behind the wheel, I turn into a different person. So I have to forgiveness there. But truly loving on people, truly having a conversation like this and wanting to pick up something from Scott or wanting to pick up something from Sandy in every single conversation that you have. And even when people disagree with you, even when people's thoughts aren't like your thoughts, understanding they see things differently. This world right now is full of turmoil. This world right now is full of people carrying flags. I'm on this side and I'm on that side. We need to understand as a culture that people think and vote and do everything the way they do because of what has happened to and through their life. And if we stop for a minute and understand why there's some pain there, and we stop for a minute, we truly just love people. Here's the key: right where they're at. Everything else takes care of itself. Am I perfect? No. Are we perfect? Yes. No. Is our culture perfect? No. Do we have 1,000,000 miles to go? Absolutely no. But every day, if we get every single one of our people saying, just for today, just for today, just for going, yes, just for today. That's how you make a difference. That's how you make a bigger impact. And that's how you leave this world different than you found it.
Man, awesome hour, Tim. Thank you very much. Great interview. I got to tell you, I don't care what your wife says about you. I think you're a great person. And so
he's hoping now, so now might not be a good time.
And like you said from the very beginning, it has to start there, right? You have to have the right culture. You've got to have a team that wants it. And wants it for all the right reasons and wants to make that difference. And that's when it's a lot easier to be innovative with that. So I want to thank you very much for sharing all your experiences with us today and your knowledge. Sandy, always a pleasure, my friend.
All mine, buddy. All mine. TC, thank you. Appreciate the generosity.
Yeah, thank you guys. Honored to be on here.